Hello everyone. First of all, I must say this has been very busy days, very tiring days, but I want to start to say I consider this good news about Russell. It's an update about Russell, where the investigative committee has passed from the civilian investigative committee to the military investigative committee. And this is good news because actually I think the civilian investigative committee was a bit powerless to do anything or to pursue any further for what I understand. So now in the hand of the military investigative committee, if they are diligent, I mean, after all, it's a war contest. It's not peacetime context. It's not peacetime, so we must have that in account. But the point is that there is a real possibility that they can pull the right strings and get to the unit where Russell is being held. We are assuming he is still alive, and so. And bring him back. Ludmila led an appeal for the people who may be holding Russell, don't commit sin. These were her words. Don't commit sin is that let him go alive. Do not hurt him. Do not take his life. He is a valuable member of the community in the Donetsk city, in the Donetsk Oblast. And not only, he is a symbol in the Donbass. We're talking about a guy that spends his life helping people, right? So, I think the Russian Federation owes him that, owes all the work he has done. All he has helped. He's been a very valuable element, a person with heart, a person with principles, a person who one can trust with his own life. So that was the update. Military investigative committees putting their hands on the matter, so now, and they can operate within the troops. Something the civilian investigative committee couldn't do. So, in the meantime, Israel leaves trails full of bodies, hospitals that look like common burial sites, massive burial sites. The rhetoric between Iran and Israel still goes on, although it seems like none of the parties have the will to escalate. But I have the feeling that Israel will escalate somehow at some point in time. Iran threats that they will pursue nuclear if Israel tries to escalate. If Iran gets nuclear weapons, it's game over for Israel, for its ambitions. Game over. And what more? What else? Oh yeah, and Russia keeps making the best of dwindling Ukrainian air defense. Of course, the Ukrainians keep complaining that the West is not sending enough help, all of that, and they do not grasp the reality is that the West needs its weapons, and the West has realized that first, it doesn't have that unsurmountable amount of weapons, unlimited, like some people thought they would do. I don't know why. And second, not having the unlimited amount of resources and weapons, it realizes that they are consumed very fast, much faster than they would be counting on in Ukraine. That's why a lot of the help that it's been sent there, it's been a lot of junk, remember that. Also good equipment, but a lot of junk too. Remember that before starting sending the Western weapons, remember the time when they were scraping the bottom of the barrel of the countries of the ex-Soviet space for weapons that were more familiar for the Ukrainians, like tanks and old airplanes and old artillery pieces, old ammunition, all sorts of Soviet weapons. Remember these times, right? I also remember that they were refusing all the times to give. They were giving statements that we are not supplying this or that weapon, and a lot of times the weapon was already being supplied as they were giving out these statements. Anyway, doesn't really matter. But the proof that the support continues for Ukraine, limited as it may be due to limitations of the West. Remember that the United States has a big empire that has to defend and man, and has other priorities, and Israel it's a bigger priority. So it's overstretched, in my opinion. But still, they send stuff. They wouldn't. I mean, if they weren't helping, they wouldn't send ATACMS missiles, which has been reported to have been weapons. This kind of weapons, ATACMS missiles, to have been used to attack a Crimean airfield. Okay, remember ATACMS? No, already there. Same thing. So a lot of help is flowing. You can be sure of that. I state and I repeat this many times: if the help had really stopped, Ukrainian had already been defeated. Of course, the biggest help, or at least a very vital help that they can give, it's with reconnaissance, targeting. You know, it's the eyes of the Ukrainian army, and one knows that the body without any eyesight, it's kind of useless, right? You can have the strongest muscles, if you don't have eyesight, you're done. So they're doing that very good service for Ukraine. Nevertheless, things are not going so well in the front lines for Ukraine. And the same happens. You know, things are bad for Ukraine on the front lines. What do? Missile attack on Crimea. Does that change anything? No. No, not at all. That just, and even it does even worse. It motivates the Russians for their struggle. It gives them that old Russian feeling of fight for the motherland. They are attacking the motherland. Russian army has a tradition of being good defensively. I know exceptions can be made, but you only get once, 1917 Bolshevik Revolution once. So you gotta have that in account as well. I didn't have much more time to read many news, but the tendency, it's not good. It doesn't look good for the West. And if the leaders of the West do not develop a little bit of gray matter on their schools, I mean, some leaders, I think they're hopeless, like Baerbock and von der Leyen. I mean, they're gonna be remembered like the very, I don't know, they're gonna go down in the history of Germany as being very incompetent I think, because they are. So yeah, let's hope it doesn't escalate much further, because as long as the war keeps going, and now I mean the Ukrainian war, of course, the tit for tat between Israel and Iran is also an issue, which hurts Ukraine once again. Okay, let's hope people maintain their cool heads. See you on the next one.